I feel like Clay is a very complicated subject. There's so many things you have to take into account. A lot of people just look at the numbers, but sometimes you have to look deeper. You have to look at team comp. Um, you have to really look at the game itself. You have to look. Statistics actually do help in a sense of they kind of tell you a story, but sometimes you have to watch to see what the story is. I've looked over the team stats of so many of his games, and I've put together two gameplays, one gameplay where he does good, one where he does not do so good, just to kind of give you two different perspectives. And this is going to be a two-part video. This one is showing a good, a bad, and some clips in between. And then the next one is going to be more of how his team and him specifically do against top teams, even though, I mean, but yeah, in this gameplay, he doesn't really have a lot of hill time, which at first led me, and a lot of the clips you're going to be hearing of me saying, oh, when he's on the hill and his team's not helping him, his team doesn't have any hill time, like he doesn't do as good. But we have to take into effect that Gwyn, for a majority of the year, was not only having the most kills on the team, but also having way more hill time than Clayster. He actually does have a higher OBJ per 10 in hardpoint than Clay does, because I think a lot of the games Gwyn was like doing it all, breaking the hill, soaking the hill when he's on it. Like you actually see that a lot from Gwyn, but a lot of things had me swing back and forth on Clay. Like, should he be in the league? Is he good enough to be in the league next year? Is he good enough? Good or not? You're gonna see my conclusion. I already know my conclusion now after watching. I've been watching for like the past 2 days so much VOD of Clay. You have no idea. I'm actually kind of sick of it. Kind of makes me want to go watch some old gameplays now. I feel like at this point I've been watching way too much MW3 at this point, but there's so many things you have to take into account. Team comp, um, how players are playing, because all this stuff affects individual performances. And we saw Clay come out at the end of the year like maybe I should have played more selfish. And after taking a deep dive into it, I kind of do see what he means in a sense, but I also do see how he could have actually made things better for himself. At the end of the day, I honestly don't feel like there was an actual real excuse for him. He actually had a pretty good team here. Maybe I feel like the thing that probably could have changed a lot was a better flex, but I feel like it was like a friendship. Like, I feel if they actually had a better flex, no disrespect to Fallow, but if they had an actual faster flex, that could have drastically changed the performances throughout the year. But that's where like Friendship League comes into terms, because a lot of the times, like, Clay is a main AR. We know Clay is a main AR, but the way Fellow plays, like the way Fellow plays on land compared to online, is so much. But overall, he does feel more main AR tendencies than flex tendencies. And the best comparison, like just off the top of my head, is I can't really compare anyone to Scrap, because Scrap just moves at a pace where, I mean, very few could match in the flex category, to be honest. But the closest person to match him, who's actually right up there, is Draza. And when I look at Fell, I mean, doesn't play anywhere near the pace of Draza. On land, you could kind of see he's like 21 and 13, but I mean, that doesn't really tell the story of like how fast you're moving on the map in terms of just like being in a position to get kills. And I kind of feel like that dynamic has been questioned throughout the year on like if Clay's the main AR, if he's the flex. Either way, that dynamic, I feel the AR dynamic, I even said it before at the beginning of the year, which is a video that actually, for a handful of subscribers, actually tell me was the video that they subbed to. Um, but just, they're not really that good of an AR duo. And the fact that we don't know who's fast, who's slow, no defined roles, could confuse a lot and not cause people to play to their full potential. Like, Clay is a main AR. He needs, like, I feel if they had a true flex in front of him, like, not saying someone on Jaws' level, but anyone of that capacity who plays faster, which allows him to be more of a main AR, do more main AR things, we would have saw a way better version of Clayster than we've seen throughout this year. But on the contrary, me saying that, and you see games like this where him and him and Tyler are both popping off, and the SMGs are like not doing as good. But I feel like that dynamic you're gonna see more in the clips, and in the clips, I mean, I have to clarify, like majority of the year, Gwyn was getting majority of the kills, majority of the hill time. Like he actually does have a higher OBJ per 10 than Clay does because he was literally doing it all. And that's not taken away from Gwyn. So in the clips, when you see me saying Clay got set up and everything, I mean set up in terms of like it almost looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing. It looks like other people are in his positions, and the best way I could show that in the clips is by showing these small examples. And I compare a lot of these main ARs to MC. And the reason why I do that, like in my good main AR, bad main AR video, is that MC has a very defined role. Like he has three players in front of him who all have a very defined role in what they're doing, which makes his role very clear. And the only issue he had was his pace and speeding up a bit. But he has a very defined role. Like the things you see MC do on the map are all defined. He never does anything out of the realm of what you would see a main AR do. Like he doesn't bait for people. I mean, maybe he might if they're on a streak or whatever, but majority of the time you see people flying in front of him. You see him holding the long angles. You see him always knowing what position he is playing because he knows what everyone else on the map is going to do. Like he always knows where he's looking. He's never not looking in an area for absolutely nothing. Like he knows where he's looking. And you're going to see in a few clips that I show where it just looks like Clay's just confused and doesn't really have a defined role. And a lot of that wasn't even on Fellow in these clips. It was actually like a mix up with him and Gwyn like a lot of the times. But I mean, it just came down to like the type of character that Gwyn was as well. Like the superstar on the team. Got to do whatever you want. Sometimes you have to debate for players like that. But it's just so like I'm even stumbling off my words saying all this stuff because I wasn't sure how to start off this video. I wasn't sure if I should start off with the clips or start off with an explanation, but I kind of feel like we'll get into these clips right now and we'll just go through it. This could be a combination of it actually being for real and me over analyzing situations, but I remember Clay talked about how next time he has to play more selfish, and I've watched, like, I spent the day actually like watching at least like 8-9 maps in between like the Halo World Championships, like just going through Clayster games. And one thing I could say from the gameplay is he's a very selfless player. Like he rotates, he gets spawns, he's playing for the objective, he's playing to win. He doesn't really kill whore that much. He tries to like team shot with his teammates, tries to help teammates when they're nearby. Like, you know, he's doing all that stuff. He's never doing any solo shit. Like, for example, Cell, even though I think Cell's like the best main AR in the league, like there's a lot of times you see Cell like on an island, like not when like the main AR has to be, but kind of just like out of the play sometimes you see from him. Always see Clay like helping in some sort of way. And I think it's kind of backwards because I kind of feel like in a lot of the games I watch, it kind of feels like he's baiting for other people when they should be baiting for him. Most people should be baiting for the main AR. Part of the reason why like Sal puts up the stats that he puts up like every year is because he has a BZ and Simp who are never gonna bait for, like, they're running in front of him, like, you know, they're opening up the map for him or they're dying for him, they're getting someone weak for him. Like it's never hey MC, can you go in front of me and like can you go in front of me first, unless they're on a streak obviously, but most of the time it's like a BZ and Sim going in first. You watch Carolina play, it's not really like maybe TJ, because TJ is actually a pretty selfish player, but don't see that much from Gwyn. I'm not gonna lie. Gwyn's also almost like a Hydra role, but not as super impactful as Hydra. Like his timings are off on like his flanks and pinches and shit sometimes, and he's just not as aggressive sometimes. And I'm gonna use this small thing as an example. This could be me over analyzing, by the way. So they get 4 down right here, and I've talked about this in another video, the video I made about like the main ARs with Major Maniac. You get 4 down on high rise control, you know where they're spawning. Like they're spawning here, and You got 5, you got 6, you got both SMGs already like pushed up in the middle. Could argue maybe one could be already going in blue, like holding a pre-aim, going mid, or like going over there. Like you already know where they're going to be, keeping pressure on, but instead they will stay on this side. You even see Gwen run backwards, which I kind of feel is counterproductive, especially when you're down lives too and they have 2 ticks. You don't want to stay in the back. You want to push forward. You want to push forward. You want to try to keep them away, as far away from the point as possible, especially a map like High Rise. Pretty fucking simple stuff, right? You don't want to invite them in and risk. Even if they got a 2 down, they could hop on the point. They're 1 tick away. It'd be different if they only had like 1 tick or like no ticks, but they're literally 1 tick away. So they only got to get all 4 down. They could hop on it when whatever was all there. So look, Gwen literally runs backwards when they get a 4 down, and this is stuff I talk about with like good main AR, bad main AR. Like statistics also affect AR players and just any player in general when like the team around them isn't doing what they're supposed to do, or their team around them isn't as good. And this is a situation like if this is fucking Atlanta FaZe and that's a BZ and Simp, I don't think a BZ is running all the way back to Hut. You know, I think a BZ is going in blue. Simp, like the players move forward. Hydra's not running back; they're going forward, and them going forward allows ARs to push up and get it back in their power positions, allowing them to like, you know, actually thrive as opposed to like setting them up for failure, setting the rest of the team up for failure. So, um, I mean, like you watch this play out. So it goes well here. I mean, fucking TJ got to get this kill because, I mean, fucking fellow dies here. But it's more like what you see here at the end. So this is where I kind of feel it's backwards because I kind of feel another reason why Clay maybe didn't do as well this year as like you could have thought is because even though Fell was supposed to be the flex, bro, you could argue like majority of the year he was like the main AR, like slow as fuck. You could argue Clay was faster than them in all the statistic categories. I'll have that in another section, but I'll have that at the end of the video. I'll have all the statistics at the end of the video. Um, but yeah, Clay was faster than him, and Clay is usually a main AR, so you could argue if he had another fast AR in front of him, like he probably would have been doing a lot better as opposed to someone slower. This right here is like a slasher. It's like a RCD's MC thing from Vanguard. RCD thinks he's the main AR, but MC's going in all the AR power spots. So now RC's like, what the fuck? Now I gotta like speed. Like what? I thought I was the main AR. I thought you were the flex baby. And then same thing, Slasher, MC, MW2. Slasher's the main AR. What the fuck? I guess I'm the flex now because this guy's slow. He's playing in all my spots and shit. You could argue it's the same thing for Clayster and Fell. Like, granted, on land they sped up, and then like their SMGs didn't do anything on land. But I mean, you could argue he didn't have a fast AR in front of him, so maybe that also like affected his playstyle as well. Because he's thinking he's gonna be the one in all these power spots, whatever. Fell could be in there. He thinks he's the one staying back. But I mean, he did play like a true main AR, but then there's another true main AR on the map, I guess, who wasn't really being that much of a flex. But I just thought this was backwards. Granted, Fell just came off spawn, but even just the fact that the main AR, because I would never see this from MC ever. I would never see MC laying down in the front and like a BZ in the back, you know. Granted, I guess if you want to like team swap them, a BZ would be TJ. Simp would probably be in Gwen's spot, you know. But I would never see MC laying down in front and like Simp behind him. I mean, maybe it might happen if just like it fucking aligns, but like even just this, like Clay's in like the front line, like, you know, trying to push up, even though he probably fucking shouldn't at this point because his SMGs didn't do it before. Like, like it almost looked like Gwen was in the back trying to kill her. Like he's not even close to a streak. Even when they got that 4 down, like they should have been pushed up. But I kind of felt like that in a small situation like that. But I kind of feel like that's Clayster kind of getting set up a bit. I don't know. This might have to be a 2-part video because I've been yapping. Okay, so in this clip, I just want to break down like another example of Clay getting set up. I mean, I've argued this. If he was on a better team, his playstyle would actually benefit. But I mean, not saying Gwen's a bad player, but it was basically right here. Like, I know Hydra takes routes. I know like a lot of the top SMG players take routes, but like I kind of feel like Gwen like set the whole team up here, and like you could argue even set Clay up. I mean, granted, Clay's not gonna be one taking a pinch because he's a main AR, but they get four down here. Like, look, they get four down here. When you have four down here, why is Gwen wrapping all the way around mid to get a pinch when he could just quite simply go through the door, sit in a corner, whole team's close by, you wipe him out again, you get all the time. Like you literally get all this time, you pass them in score actually from getting this time. And then once you push up right here, so once you get the four down, pushes up here, you get one more wave of kills, then you start going through mid. And then, granted, they might be spawning on that side, which is probably why he wrapped back around mid because he didn't want to flip spawns. But I mean, you could secure the time. It's fucking P3, bro. Like you could hold P3 from the front. Like P3 is not a hill mandatory for the backside. I don't feel. Um, but look, just take a look at it. So he takes this big route, and like Hydra is like the master of timing. So like I'm thinking like Hydra would probably do a bit better on this. I mean, I don't know, but this is hindsight cheese. But like he took way too long on the pinch, and look, you got Clay on the hill, you got everyone on the hill, and there's one guy not there, and it's the guy with the best stats on the team. Hmm. You know, and I know, like I even talked about it with like a BZ sometimes because a BZ did the same thing on Six Star, made a whole entire fucking video about it, but just like an example, like he's on the hill, he's soaking time, and a guy's going on a route, getting set up, and then all these stuff like reflect on like the final like score when you see like KDs and shit, and you see someone's like 19 and 25. So let's even like go near the end of the game. I could even like show you exactly what the fuck I mean. So like you could even go like near the like this right here tells the whole story. Like everyone's probably thinking Clayster is fucking like look at the times compared to everyone else. 9 seconds on the hill. If you have 9 seconds on the hill, it means you're not getting naded, you're not getting stuns, you're not getting team naded like off spawn because you're not on the hill. You're safe outside the hill, more playing for kills. If someone's on the hill, going in war every time. That's basically what it is, which is why Hydra is like so good at his role because he may have 9 seconds on the hill, but it's like nine. But like he's like keeping him off the hill. Like the person with 2 minutes on the hill, like they're winning because of it. It's not like he's just like off doing his thing and it's useless. Like he's legit like flying around the map, stopping from getting on the hill. But this is just like a stat line. Some people might see like, man, Clayster's ass. He's fucking 15 and 20. But like you could just like the whole scoreboard kind of tells like the story. Like 2 minutes on the hill. I watched this whole game, but if you watch the whole game, rotates to every hill, like he's on the shit. He's on the fucking shit. I mean, granted, I mean some of that time is him on the hill and his team is successfully pushing out. But I mean, you basically get my point. Spend most of the time on the hill. Hill has like basically the most interactions, and if you don't have help all the time, then like you die more of the time. You don't get as much kills. You get double team. Somebody tell me if I'm tweaking here. Could be overanalyzing. Somebody tell me if I'm tweaking. So pay attention on 1 and 3 because it's usually Clay and Gwen at some point. So I mean it's P2, P3 is about to pop. And take a look at Gwen does. So Gwen goes like top red, so he's up top. Clay's like watching over him. And I thought Gwen was gonna like stay here and wait for him, but Gwen ends up just going through top red, going back all the way around, taking a pinch when like the hill hasn't even popped. And like it allows Clay to die back to back. Like just him not just staying and like not trading with Clay, but he could have team shotted like the second person and then kept Clay alive, and they would have had a full setup as opposed to what happened here. Like they get like half the time and then they whatever. So Clay gets a kill right here, and this is where Gwen like be right now. Like Gwen should be around here, boom, like to get number 6, save Clay's life. But instead, this guy wraps all the way around red. Granted, I mean, like it looks completely fine now because like take a look at how this goes. So he gets number 6 right here, and then Clay has to like spawn out, goes back through mid. He gets a kill, but he dies from the back. And like I was just like thinking about, I was like, Clay died twice because he had no help from his team. He had no help from his team at the first time, and then second time he spawned out when like he honestly didn't have to, if his team was right there to save him, and then allowed Ultra to come through the side. Granted, I mean like Ravens got like 20 seconds, but then they got like broke right here. As opposed to, I'm thinking if like they already had control of P5 with Clay on the AR down here, and then like they held everything else, they probably could have held like maybe the whole time. But I'm not sure if that's me overthinking like Gwen, not purposely. He's not purposely like, yeah, I'm fucking him over, but like playing a more like selfish way there. Like I don't know why he needs to take the route through red to pinch back through mid when like they're at P3, when they're at P2, P3 hasn't popped yet. Like that's kind of confusing to me. That's kind of confusing why he had to take that route. It was kind of just like a 18 seconds left, hold where you're at, like you know, like you have the hill. You know, that's kind of what it was. I tried not to in my whole VOD review of the Ravens to not use their major qualifier matches, but when you don't have as many matches on LAN, I mean, you kind of have to. And this is a bad game from Clay. I just wanted to highlight like his timings and just the way he plays in general. So this is a complete opposite from the LAG match that you saw, the Karachi one, where he was not getting on a hill, he was just holding lanes, so he was able to have a great match, great KD. Wasn't really that OBJ minded that game, was just slaying honestly, but a lot of players could have like the same good game if they weren't responsible for the hill, like, so can't even bring that up. But honestly, in this game, his timings and everything like were just off, so we're kind of just gonna watch him. So I mean, I guess the first thing, if we're nitpicking small stuff, so if we're paying attention to number 1 on the map, so like here he knows, so right now his team has control of the hill, but this is harsh, this is me critiquing shit, but when you know the hill's blue, like you have the hill, or like the hill's white, whatever, you have control of it, you could keep watching mid. And I know for a fact if it was like MC or MC just MC, I know MC's watching this lane until he gets his kill because his team literally has control of the hill, but he just like peeks once and he kind of just like turns away, dies, and then like they control the hill. That one kill's big, but his timings are off. And what else is I gonna say? There's a lot of times where he gets like something I don't really like that some main ARs do, mostly like honestly like the bad ones, is like when they get caught sprinting like so much. I feel like a main AR most of the time should be getting caught like in positions like this and like you die like that. Not saying you should just be holding irons the whole time, but when you're like, when a majority of your deaths are like you sprinting, that's kind of like, it kind of feels off to me. And from all the gameplays I watched, I noticed it felt like Clay was doing like a lot of overcompensating. Like he really wanted to chow a lot of, not saying chowing is bad, but there's times where you just gotta like lay down. But this is not making any excuse. There were a lot of times where he's just damn right getting pissed on. And that was the stuff that kind of swayed my mind on like the final verdict I have, which will probably be in the second video. There's a lot of times he's just getting hammered. But Ravens as a whole didn't really have a game plan. They don't really have a game plan. And something I also wanted to bring up, which I'm actually going to put on the screen right now, is a lot of the top, like, if you look at the stats for every top 4 team and their main ARs, their main AR has the highest OBJ per 10 by a landslide, like by a big margin. And this is the only team where Clay, granted he's second to Gwyn, but even that's kind of unacceptable. Even that's kind of acceptable. And like honestly, even here, so they get the kill number 7, 3 spawns back there, so you kind of know like you have the spawns, but he's still like not aware to like look to the right, and I know a person like MC would. Honestly, any good miniar just knows instantly like 2 spawn there too, still not looking, and then by the time he looks too late. Very lost on this map. If you just pay attention to number 1 arrow this whole time, just take a look at things he does. And this is another thing I wanted to point out. So off rotation here. Off rotation right here. It's at the point where, okay, I'm gonna wait for those people. They have everybody died. They got 3 people. There's 28 seconds left. He should just be hitting a full roto, like a full roto. But instead, I feel like he did one of those things where you realize you're doing bad and you know where they're spawning, so you're kind of going for a kill horror kill as opposed to like just going for, you know, going for what you're supposed to go for. So he gets this kill on 8, but immediately, because he got that kill, whole team turns. Not saying if he didn't get that kill and he just ran by that like not at least one of them was going to go rotate, but the fact that he stopped and got the kill alerted all of them, because I think like at least 2 of them are probably gonna go hit old. Maybe. This is hindsight. Don't know how many of them are gonna rotate, as opposed to if he just went, if he ignored number 8, because I've seen so many teams, even top teams, send a guy off rotating and they know, and the players on the hill know someone is still going to come through a gap that they left behind, and they just wait for, like, there's 3 people over here. You don't need to get that kill. You don't need to. You could actually move up, maybe get one, maybe just play your life back there, and if like you pick one, and then they'll probably start spawning over here. They'll probably start getting parallel spawns to like the hill as opposed to spawning here, and you could actually maybe get spawns for your team if you play your life. Because by now, if he didn't get the kill number 8 and he just kept going, probably could have been like back here by now. And if 2 people are rotating, probably kill, like, this is hindsight stuff, but stopping to get that kill, then everyone's looking for you, and it's at the point where you can't even, not even enough time to like go this way because they'll probably cut you off. And even how he takes this child too. Yeah, even that child was questionable, but so he basically gets the spawns that he could have given to Miami, and they probably could have gotten this. That's just my thoughts on it. That's my thoughts on it. Because he did not need to get that kill horror. I felt like that was like a useless kill. That was a useless kill horror kill, like to get in the middle just because you knew where they're going to be. Where they're going to be coming from, but that's just me. 15 and 10 for him. 4 straight for him as I say that he drops. No, I mean that's just what they're allowing. And we're going to do stats in like part 2 or part 3. This might be a part 3. I might do a part 3 for just stats. For just stats only. Nothing crazy happens, and it has worked out. This has been such a clean P5 here for Heretics. Outclassed them so far in the hard points, but at least this time it feels like you're still like chopping distance of your own. Ravens, so you're kind of getting blown off the map early on in that map 1. You get a little bit of an answer here to get some time. You know, P5 to P1 can be a massive moment for a squad. Oh, he still got ran through there? Oh my goodness. I thought he got that kill. Bro, had him in the back. I mean, granted you have there on the corner, but yeesh. And you're gonna see in the listen, and he's just not motivated. I think this Major 4 qualifiers, he was kind of just out of it. And you could see his attitude in the gameplay of almost like, this is... I'm curious if Clay and Tyler actually talked about who's the flex and who's the main AR, because I feel like they have... This is an accuracy gunless situation in my opinion. from what it looks like, Fell is the flex, but from most of the numbers Fell puts up, he does not seem like the flex at all. If he is, he's a really bad flex, you know? Unless it's online, I guess, a majority of the time. But I mean, when they face, usually when they face like Optic or whatever, I mean, he's chalked anyway, so.
He's challenging off right side time weak if you have a nade. Lucky's in time weak if you have a nade.
He's got a trophy.
Mid on me, guys.
Trophy.
I hear you mid.
I'm looking over mid. Two on you mid. Both weak.
Go P1.
I got them both mid.
Nice, let's go. I'm hitting him mid.
One hill. Lucky and metals.
If the other guy's P1,
Nice,
metals.
P1,
I'm trying to
P1.
stay alive.
Let's hit after that. Nice.
Hold it.
Huge 20. Rotate. Let's fucking go. They might hit all.
I got some middle. I got top burger. I need it from mid, Rio. Gonna go left. Build Rio. Nothing mid. Nothing mid.
Other one left from me, Vickle.
I'm helping you left. I'm helping you left.
Give you low left.
It's on me all.
Low left. Oh,
Mid
mid.
on me.
Mid dead.
Vickle's gonna be through.
Metals dead on me all.
Vickle's gonna be through
One
now.
set old.
One more. Mid. They're back, I think.
And Vickle's gonna be deep mid, bro.
Yeah. We need to play for Vickle, guys.
Rio's much on you.
Vickle's going to be in the back, guys.
It's gonna be deep, bro.
Mid. Yo, right now mid. Vickle. That's him.
Another one mid. Tree door.
On me, dead.
He went out. He went out.
They ran at me, bro.
What's up?
Dig.
Got a Zig. Dead.
Zig,
That was
no.
not him.
And
Metals,
Zig.
metals,
Weak.
metals.
Weak and Zig.
Push this guy, Zig.
He's laying down in the middle of Zig.
Dead. I could be low on me.
I think three of
I
them
have a
as well.
trope on you. Could be low.
Low,
Backstairs.
I'm backstairs.
You went back into low. Real. You went back into low.
Stunning it.
one
I have your
shot,
backstairs.
One's out.
Low. Take low, dead.
It's done.
Coming trees.
One shot.
Coming trees. Pushing him up.
Fuck. Another one.
He'll
On me.
one shot,
Back
guys.
elbow or
One shot.
something. Vickle back elbow or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know.
Vickle in
Vickle's in
the
the
back.
back. I spawned out. I want your tree.
Got one trees. One more back.
I found a tree door.
Vickle's backside of time. He's one shot. Flood back.
Bro, I laughed at this right here because I watched like part of this before I recorded this. The fact he died from the hill, walking backwards, looking at mid. I've never seen this shit before. Like, look, he's staring mid and he dies from a hill, walking backwards. I was like, that's some fucking weird shit. I've never seen anyone like that look actually so newbie. I'm not even gonna lie.
Set him mid stairs. I can get that guy.
Top burger, man.
Dead.
Nice shit. Top
And
burger.
trees on us weak. Trees weak.
Trees. Where'd he go? P1?
No, he went towards old.
One mid, bro. Come on, music. I'm back music.
One more on order. Get that guy.
Top burger, man. Nice shit. Top
And
burger.
trees on us weak. Trees weak.
Trees. Where'd he go? P1?
He actually might be getting online cheese too. I don't know.
One mid, bro. Come on, music. I'm back music.
One more on order on me.
I do think Clay is a good player. He just needs. I feel in order for him to thrive in today's COD, he needs a team with a system, a clear way of how they want to play, and I feel like he'll thrive in a way like that. I kind of feel like a lot of the times Ravens was all over the place, didn't really have a game plan. If they had like some sort of a Seattle Surge system, like that Seattle Surge team was a band of misfits, but they were able to get some sort of system together and play over what their expectations were just because of the teamwork on display and everything. And I kind of feel if they had more defined roles, they had a better AR duo, in my opinion, we could have seen better out of Clay. He's a player I still feel could be in the league, but yeah, I mean, you'll get my consensus in the next video.